I still remember the smell of roasted turkey filling my grandparents' house every Thanksgiving. The laughter, the warmth, the feeling of belonging to something bigger than myself. My family was everything to me. I believed nothing could ever tear us apart. I was wrong. One lie was all it took to erase me from their lives for 3 years. I was accused of sleeping with my cousin's fiancée, a woman I had never even been alone with. Before we dive into how the truth finally came to light, let me know where you are watching from today. Drop a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe if you have not already. Trust me, you will want to stay until the end of this one. Growing up in a small town in Ohio, I always felt lucky to have the family I did. We were not rich by any means, but we had something money could not buy. We had each other. My father worked as an electrician, spending long hours fixing wiring in old houses and commercial buildings. His hands were rough and calloused, but they were gentle when he patted my shoulder after a little league game or helped me with my homework. My mother was a nurse at the local hospital, working night shifts more often than not. Despite her exhausting schedule, she always made sure there was a warm meal on the table and that my sister and I knew we were loved. My sister Brooke came along 4 years after me. She was the outgoing one, the social butterfly who made friends everywhere she went. I was the opposite. Quiet, reserved, more comfortable with a book or a computer than at a crowded party. But that was okay. In our family there was room for all kinds of personalities. We accepted each other as we were. Beyond our immediate family, we had a whole network of relatives who lived nearby. My grandparents on my father's side had a big farmhouse about 20 minutes outside of town. That house was the gathering place for every major holiday. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, 4th of July. The whole extended family would come together, aunts, uncles, cousins. The house would be bursting with noise and food and love. After college, I moved to Columbus to work as a software engineer. It was only about 2 hours from home, close enough that I could drive back for those family gatherings. I made that drive countless times, always feeling a sense of anticipation as I got closer to my grandparents' house. No matter how stressful my job was or how complicated my life became, those gatherings reminded me of who I was and where I came from. My cousin Derek was the son of my father's brother, Uncle Ray. Derek was 2 years older than me, and in many ways he was everything I was not. Tall, good-looking, charming. He had this natural charisma that drew people to him. While I was coding in my apartment on weekends, Derek was out closing real estate deals and attending networking events. He had started his own property development company in his mid-20s, and by 30, he was doing better financially than anyone else in our generation of the family. Derek and I were never particularly close. We did not have any bad blood between us. We were just different. At family gatherings, he would be the center of attention, telling stories and making everyone laugh. I would be in the corner talking quietly with my grandmother or helping my mom in the kitchen. We existed in different orbits, and that was fine with both of us. Everything changed when Megan entered the picture. Derek brought her to a family barbecue about 2 years before everything fell apart. I remember the moment they walked in together. She was striking, long brown hair that fell past her shoulders, a bright smile that seemed to light up whatever room she was in. She was wearing a yellow sundress, and she moved through the crowd like she had known everyone her whole life. Within minutes, she was chatting with my aunts, complimenting my grandmother's potato salad, and making my grandfather laugh with some joke I could not hear from where I was standing. My first impression of Megan was that she was friendly, almost too friendly. There was something about her that I could not quite put my finger on. When she smiled, her mouth curved perfectly, but her eyes did not quite match. They stayed cool, calculating even when she was laughing. I dismissed that observation at the time. I figured I was just being my usual introverted self, reading too much into things. Derek was head over heels for her. That much was obvious. He could not stop looking at her, could not stop touching her arm or her back. After about a year of dating, he proposed. She said yes, of course. The whole family was thrilled. My aunt and uncle started planning the wedding immediately. It was going to be the event of the year, a summer wedding at a vineyard about an hour from town. The engagement party was held at my grandparents' house naturally. It was a warm evening in late spring, and the backyard was decorated with string lights and flowers. There must have been 50 people there, family and friends, all gathered to celebrate Derek and Megan's upcoming marriage. I came alone. I had broken up with my girlfriend a few months earlier. It was a mutual decision, but it still stung. I was not in the mood to mingle, so I spent most of the evening helping my uncle man the grill and making small talk with relatives I only saw a few times a year. That was when Megan approached me. She came over with 2 glasses of wine and handed one to me without asking if I wanted it. I took it out of politeness. "You are Undine, right?" she asked, even though we had met several times before. "Derek's cousin." "That is me," I said. "I feel like we have never really talked," she said, tilting her head slightly. "You are always so quiet at these things." I shrugged. "I am not much of a party person." She laughed, a musical sound that did not reach her eyes. "I get that. Sometimes I wish I could just disappear into a corner too. But you know how it is, future bride duties and all that." We talked for maybe 10 minutes. She asked about my job, my apartment in Columbus, my hobbies. I gave short answers, not wanting to be rude, but also not wanting to encourage a long conversation. Eventually, she glanced at her phone and said she needed to go find Derek. But before she left, she asked for my number. "I want to get Derek something special for a wedding gift," she explained. "Something personal. You have known him his whole life. Maybe you could help me come up with ideas." It seemed like a reasonable request. I gave her my number without thinking much of it. She smiled, thanked me, and disappeared into the crowd. I did not know it then, but that moment was the first step toward the destruction of my entire life. 2 weeks after the engagement party, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was Megan. She had saved my contact information and was reaching out about the gift idea just as she had said. "Hi, Undine. It is Megan. Still thinking about what to get Derek. Any ideas?" I suggested a few things. A nice watch maybe, or tickets to see his favorite sports team. She thanked me, and the conversation ended. Simple enough. But then a few days later, she texted again. This time, it was not about the gift. She asked how my week was going. I told her it was fine. She asked about a project I had mentioned at the party. I gave her a brief update. The conversation was short, but it felt different, more personal. Over the next couple of weeks, the texts became more frequent. She would message me about random things, a funny video she saw online, a restaurant she tried, a song that reminded her of Ohio. I always responded, but I kept my replies short, 1 or 2 sentences at most. I did not want to be rude to my cousin's fiancé, but something about the increasing frequency of her messages made me uncomfortable. Then came the night that changed everything. It was almost 11 o'clock, and I was getting ready for bed when my phone lit up with her name. "Are you awake? I am feeling really down tonight, and I just need someone to talk to." I stared at the message for a long time. Every instinct told me not to respond. This was not appropriate. She was engaged to my cousin. If she needed someone to talk to, she should call Derek or a friend or anyone else. Not me. I did not reply. I read the message, put my phone on the nightstand, and went to sleep. The next morning, I decided I needed to create some distance. I would be polite if I saw her at family events, but I was not going to continue these text conversations. I thought that was the end of it. 3 weeks later, I was sitting on my couch watching a basketball game when my phone rang. It was Derek. We rarely talked on the phone, so I was surprised to see his name on my screen. "Hello," I answered. "Undine." His voice was cold, flat. I had never heard him sound like that before. "Do you have anything you want to tell me?" I was confused. "What do you mean?" "You know exactly what I mean." His voice rose. I could hear the anger building. "Megan told me everything. She told me what happened between you two after the engagement party." My heart stopped. "Derek, I have no idea what you are talking about." "Do not lie to me," he was shouting now. "She showed me the messages, Undine. She showed me everything. The texts you sent her late at night, telling her you loved her, telling her to leave me for you. And she told me about that night, the night you two slept together." I felt like the ground had opened up beneath me. "Derek, that never happened. I swear to you I never sent any messages like that. I never touched Megan. I have barely even spoken to her." "Then how do you explain the texts? How do you explain messages from your number sent at midnight saying all those things?" "I do not know," I stammered. "But I did not send them. Someone must have faked them. I do not know how, but I did not do this." There was a long pause. When Derek spoke again, his voice was quiet, but it was the kind of quiet that cuts deeper than any scream. "You are dead to me, Undine. Do not ever contact me again. Do not come to the wedding. Do not come to any family events. As far as I am concerned, you do not exist anymore." The line went dead. I sat there in the dark, my phone still pressed to my ear, unable to move, unable to breathe. What had just happened? How could Megan have messages that I never sent? Why would she lie about something like this? My hands were shaking as I dialed my mother's number. She picked up after 3 rings. "Mom, I need to talk to you. It is about Derek. He just called me and accused me of something terrible, something I did not do." There was a pause. When my mother spoke, her voice was not warm. It was not comforting. It was cold. "I know, Undine. Derek called your father earlier. He told us what Megan said." "Mom, it is not true. None of it is true. I never touched her. I never sent those messages." "Then how does she have texts from your phone number? How do you explain that?" "I cannot explain it, but I am telling you the truth. Someone faked those messages. I do not know how or why, but I did not do this." My mother was silent for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her words felt like a knife in my chest. "Megan has no reason to lie about something like this, Undine. She has nothing to gain. You are my son, and I love you, but I cannot defend you when you do something like this. What you did to Derek, to this family, it is unforgivable." I tried to speak, but no words came out. My own mother did not believe me. "I think you need to give everyone some space," she continued. "Do not call for a while. People need time to process this." She hung up. Over the next few days, I tried to reach out to everyone. I called my father. He did not answer. I called my grandmother, the woman who had held me as a baby, and told me I was her special boy. She did not pick up either. I texted my sister Brooke, begging her to let me explain. Her response was a single line, "You have disappointed me so much." One by one, I watched my family disappear. My aunts and uncles blocked my number. My cousins removed me from the family group chat. I was not invited to the wedding. I was not even mentioned. In the span of less than a week, I went from being part of a large, loving family to being completely alone. I had been erased, deleted from their lives, as though I had never existed. And the worst part was that I had no way to prove my innocence. I had no way to show them that the messages were fake. I had nothing but my word, and my word meant nothing to them. The first year after being disowned was the darkest period of my life. I fell into a deep depression. Some mornings I could not get out of bed. I would lie there for hours staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation in my head. What could I have done differently? How could I have prevented this? Was there something I missed? Some warning sign I should have seen? I stopped taking care of myself. I barely ate. I did not exercise. I threw myself into work, not because I cared about my job, but because it was the only thing that kept me from drowning in my own thoughts. Even then, my performance suffered. My manager pulled me aside and told me I needed to get it together or I would be let go. I did not have anyone to talk to. I had always been an introvert, and most of my social life revolved around my family. Without them, I was completely isolated. I spent my evenings alone in my apartment, the silence pressing down on me like a physical weight. The questions haunted me. Why had Megan done this? What did she have to gain by destroying my life? I ran through every possibility. Maybe she was attracted to me and decided to punish me for not reciprocating. Maybe she saw me as a threat somehow, someone who might see through her facade. Maybe she was simply a cruel person who enjoyed causing pain. I had no answers. I heard through the grapevine that Derek and Megan got married as planned. The wedding was beautiful according to the photos I saw on social media before everyone blocked me. The whole family was there. Everyone except me. Looking at those pictures, seeing my parents and my sister smiling alongside the woman who had destroyed my life was almost more than I could bear. In my second year of exile, I finally sought help. I started seeing a therapist, a patient woman named Dr. Harrison, who let me talk for hours about what had happened. She helped me understand that I could not control what other people believed. I could only control how I responded. She taught me coping mechanisms, ways to manage the anger and the grief that threatened to consume me. Slowly, painfully, I began to rebuild my life. I started going to the gym, channeling my frustration into physical exercise. I focused on my career, throwing myself into challenging projects that demanded my full attention. I made a few friends, colleagues who knew nothing about my family drama and accepted me for who I was. But the wound never fully healed. Every holiday was a reminder of what I had lost. Every Thanksgiving I would think about my grandmother's house, the smell of turkey, the sound of laughter. I would wonder if anyone missed me. I would wonder if anyone ever questioned whether Megan had told the truth. By the third year, I had reached a kind of acceptance. Not happiness exactly, but a sense of peace with my situation. I told myself that I might never clear my name. I might never see my family again. And somehow, I had to find a way to be okay with that. Then one cold January evening, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Undine, it is Brooke. I need to see you. It is important. Please." I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it to protect myself from more pain. But another part of me, the part that still remembered my little sister's laugh and the way she used to follow me around when we were kids, could not say no. I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop in Columbus the following Saturday. When I walked in, I barely recognized her. Brooke looked exhausted. There were dark circles under her eyes and she had lost weight. She was sitting in a corner booth clutching a cup of coffee like it was the only thing keeping her upright. I slid into the seat across from her. For a moment, neither of us spoke. "Thank you for coming," she finally said. Her voice was hoarse. "What is this about Brooke?" She took a deep breath. "I am so sorry, Undine. I am so sorry." I waited. "Derek and Megan got divorced 2 months ago." I blinked. Whatever I had expected her to say, it was not that. "She cheated on him," Brooke continued, "with a coworker. Derek found out and filed for divorce immediately. But that is not even the important part." She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking. During the divorce proceedings, Derek went through some of Megan's old stuff. Her laptop, her phone records, everything. He was looking for evidence of the affair. And he found something else. She turned the phone toward me. On the screen was a screenshot of some kind of application. "It is a spoofing app," Brooke explained. "It lets you create fake text messages from any phone number you want. The messages look completely real. They show up with timestamps and everything." I felt the blood drain from my face. "Megan used this app to send messages to herself," Brooke said, her voice breaking. "She pretended to be you. She created an entire conversation that never happened. She made it look like you were confessing your love for her, begging her to leave Derek. All of it was fake. Every single word." I could not speak. I could not move. Derek found the original files on her laptop, the drafts of the fake messages, the screenshots she took to show him. She planned the whole thing, Undine. She planned it from the beginning. "Why?" The word came out as a whisper. Brooke shook her head. The therapist she saw after the divorce said she has some kind of personality disorder. She needed to control Derek to isolate him from anyone who might see through her. And she was afraid of you. She told her therapist that she could tell you did not trust her. She saw you as a threat. I thought back to the engagement party, to that first conversation, to my instinct that something was off about her, that her eyes did not match her smile. "Everyone knows now," Brooke said. "Mom and Dad, the aunts and uncles, everyone. Derek told them as soon as he found out. They are all devastated. They feel terrible for what they did to you." 3 years, I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. 3 years I spent alone. 3 years I spent thinking I would never see any of you again. "I know." Tears were streaming down Brooke's face. "I know, and nothing we say can make up for that. But they want to see you, Undine. Mom and Dad, they want to apologize. They are too ashamed to call you themselves. They asked me to come instead." I sat there in that coffee shop trying to process everything I had just learned. I had spent 3 years waiting for this moment, dreaming about it, imagining how it would feel to finally be vindicated. But now that it was here, I felt nothing, just a vast, empty numbness. "I do not know what to say," I told Brooke. "You do not have to say anything right now," she replied. "Take all the time you need. We will be here when you are ready." After that conversation with Brooke, I spent a week alone with my thoughts. I did not call anyone. I did not make any decisions. I just sat with the weight of everything that had happened. 3 years. That is how long I had been cast out. That is how long I had lived without a family, without the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. And now I was supposed to just go back, pretend everything was normal, forgive and forget. I knew I could not do that. The wound was too deep, the scar tissue too thick. But I also knew I could not spend the rest of my life holding on to anger. My therapist had taught me that bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. If I wanted to move forward, I had to find a way to let go. So I made a decision. Not to forgive completely, not to pretend the past 3 years had not happened, but to open a door, to give my family a chance to show me they had changed. I picked up my phone and called my mother. She answered on the first ring. "Undine." Her voice cracked on my name. "Hi, Mom." And then she was crying. Deep, heaving sobs that came through the phone line like waves. "I am so sorry," she kept saying. "I am so sorry. I should have believed you. I should have known my own son would never do something like that. I failed you. I failed you as a mother." I listened. I did not tell her it was okay, because it was not. But I did not hang up either. "I want to see you," I finally said. "I am coming home this Sunday." The silence on the other end was thick with emotion. "We will be here," she whispered. "We will be waiting." That Sunday, I made the 2-hour drive back to my hometown for the first time in 3 years. The roads were familiar, but they felt different somehow, like I was seeing them through older eyes. When I pulled into my parents' driveway, I saw the curtains move. By the time I reached the front door, it was already open. My mother stood there looking smaller than I remembered. My father was behind her, his face lined with guilt and regret. We stood there for a moment, no one knowing what to say. Then my mother stepped forward and wrapped her arms around me. She held on like she was afraid I would disappear. "I am sorry," she said again. "I am so sorry." My father came forward next. He put his hand on my shoulder, then pulled me into a hug. "I should have listened to you," he said, his voice rough. "I should have been your father. I should have protected you." Brooke was there too, standing off to the side. She gave me a small smile through her tears. We went inside and sat in the living room, the same room where I had played as a child, the same couch where I had watched football games with my dad. Everything looked the same, but everything had changed. My parents apologized again. They told me about the guilt they had carried, the sleepless nights, the arguments between them, about whether they had done the right thing. They told me about the moment Derek showed them the evidence from Megan's laptop, how their world had collapsed when they realized what they had done. I listened to all of it, and when they were finished, I spoke. "I cannot tell you that I have forgiven you completely," I said. "That would be a lie. What happened broke something inside me, and I do not know if it can ever be fully repaired. But I am willing to try. I am willing to start over one step at a time. I cannot promise it will be easy or fast. But I am here. That has to count for something." My mother nodded, tears still streaming down her face. "It counts for everything." Before I left that day, my father handed me an envelope. It was a letter from Derek. "He asked me to give this to you," my father said. "He wanted to apologize in person, but he was not sure you would want to see him." I took the letter home with me. I read it that night. Derek wrote about his shame, his regret, his inability to believe he had been so completely manipulated. He did not make excuses. He did not ask for forgiveness. He simply said he was sorry, and that he understood if I never wanted to speak to him again. I have not written back yet. I am not sure I ever will, but I have not thrown the letter away either. 6 months have passed since that Sunday at my parents' house. My relationship with my family is slowly rebuilding. It is not easy. There are awkward silences. There are moments when the old pain flares up and I have to leave the room to collect myself. But we are trying. That is more than I thought would ever happen. I have learned some things through this experience. I have learned that the people who love you can still hurt you deeply. I have learned that trust once broken takes a long time to rebuild. And I have learned that forgiveness is not about saying what happened was okay. It is about choosing not to let the past control your future. As for Megan, I do not think about her much anymore. When I do not feel anger. I feel something closer to pity. Imagine living your life behind a mask, manipulating everyone around you, unable to form real connections. That is its own kind of prison. I am free now, not just from the accusations, but from the bitterness that almost consumed me. I spent 3 years in darkness, but I came out the other side. I am stronger than I was before, more self-reliant, more certain of who I am. If you are watching this, and you are going through something similar, if you have been falsely accused, if you have been abandoned by people you love, I want you to know that it gets better. The truth has a way of coming out eventually. It might take months, it might take years, but lies cannot survive forever. They crumble under their own weight. And while you are waiting for the truth to emerge, focus on yourself. Build a life that does not depend on anyone else's approval. Become the person you want to be, because when the truth finally comes to light, and it will, you will be ready to decide what happens next on your own terms. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been falsely accused of something? How did you handle it? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experience might help someone else who is going through the same thing. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like. It helps more people find these videos. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you do not miss future stories. Share this with someone who might need to hear it today. Thank you for watching and for being part of this community. I hope this story reminded you that no matter how dark things get, there is always a path forward. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.